We are the anchors of Queer News Tonight, and this evening we discuss the queer headlines. History has been made in Georgia's 13th Congressional District. Former Gwinnett County School Board Chair Everton Blair has won a special election runoff, becoming the first openly gay person elected to Congress from Georgia and the first openly gay black man elected to represent any southern state.
Media advocacy organization GLAAD continues updating its ongoing Trump accountability tracker. The public database monitors and archives executive orders, judicial actions, agency policy shifts, and public statements impacting the LGBTQ+ community across the federal government and national discourse.
One of the nation's longest-running LGBTQ+ film festivals is preparing for a record-breaking return. Out on Film has unveiled the lineup for its 39th annual festival in Atlanta, featuring more than 150 narrative films, documentaries, and shorts celebrating queer cinema under the theme, The World We're Making.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is facing widespread condemnation after uttering a transphobic slur during an address to military defense contractors in Wisconsin. In a speech touting a shift away from diversity initiatives, Hegseth blamed red tape and targeted transgender service members, sparking calls from lawmakers for his immediate resignation.
All this important LGBTQ+ news and more this evening on Queer News Tonight. Welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ daily news television show, broadcasting live and available on demand on your favorite streaming channels.
Analytics company vidIQ has certified the Queer News Tonight YouTube channel as the world's most popular LGBTQ streaming news show. Our queer stories have reached over 13 million views.
We are proud that Queer News Tonight has more YouTube subscribers than any other LGBTQ brand in Florida. We thank you for watching and supporting our voice and our rainbow family. There is no other news program in the LGBTQ world like Queer News Tonight.
It is Thursday, August 27th, 2026. We are live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we will tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
You're watching Queer News Tonight, the world's first daily LGBTQ evening news show.
Welcome to the world's most important LGBTQ evening news show. I'm Larry Farver, and let's queer up the black community. Historic win. Everton Blair elected as Georgia's first out LGBTQ+ member of Congress. The former Gwinnett County School Board Chair secured a historic victory in a special election runoff, becoming the first openly LGBTQ+ person elected to Congress from Georgia and the first openly gay black man elected to represent a southern state in the U.S. House of Representatives. Everton Blair, 33, won the special general runoff election for Georgia's 13th Congressional District by defeating Marcy Scott, the daughter of late long-term Democratic Representative David Scott, whose passing created the vacancy. A former public math teacher with degrees both from Harvard and Stanford, Blair previously made history in 2018 when he became the youngest member of the first Black American elected to the Gwinnett County Board of Education, later serving as board chair. Nationally, Blair becomes the third openly gay black man elected to Congress, following New York's Democrats Richie Torres and Mondaire Jones. Blair will be sworn in when the House reconvenes to complete the remainder of Representative David Scott's term, ending in January 2027. Because State Representative Jasmine Clark won the separate Democratic primary for the full 2-year term, Blair's tenure in the House will focus on serving out the current term, advocating for public education, protecting health care, and strengthening voting rights across Metro Atlanta. Well, congratulations. How exciting. Let's continue the blue wave.
Yeah.
What do y'all think?
Well, one, for viewers to know, it is normally when they're the deaf in office and there's the special election part, for that to be before the normal primary.
Right.
So that normally you don't get this mismatch that we're seeing. I will say that, I learned something new today. I did not know that Richie Torres was a member of the LGBTQ community. We don't want him. Please go away, Richie. But hey, man, the bar is so low for you now. If Richie is the guy you're being compared to, congrats. So those are my first things. But the last comment I will make on this is unfortunately, one of the big things we're seeing in this primary cycle is getting rid of so many old Democrats who should have retired.
Yeah.
This is one of, I think it's 5 or 6 Democrats have died in office in the last 4 years in Congress, which is insane. That is not normal. So I'm glad to see this man and this young lady taking over, and thank God they're at least not nominating another old Democrat.
Maybe they were downwind of Trump. I mean, you hear the rumor.
That'll knock you right over. Congratulations to Everton Blair on this historic victory, and hopefully in the period that he's got in office that he can exact some change.
Or at least enjoy a few months in D.C. and do a few decent good votes.
Well, we wish him well.
I'm Alex Morash, and let's queer politics. GLAAD's Trump Accountability Tracker documents expanded policy and rhetoric. National LGBTQ media advocacy organization GLAAD continues to expand its ongoing Trump Accountability Tracker, a public repository that catalogs policy decisions, executive orders, agency rules, judicial nominations, and public rhetoric impacting LGBTQ+ individuals. First launched as part of the broader GLAAD accountability project, the archive serves as a centralized resource for newsrooms, legal advocates, and civil rights organizations monitoring federal policy changes. The tracker documents executive agency actions spanning healthcare access, education guidelines, military service regulations, federal employment protections, and international aid programs. Beyond policy announcements, the database archives public statements, campaign rally commentary, and official communications to evaluate administrative positioning on sexual orientation and gender identity. In addition to tracking legislative and executive developments, the project monitors ongoing federal litigation involving civil rights enforcement. Recent legal and policy developments recorded by the project include federal court challenges surrounding the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission's workplace guidelines, National Park History Display Directives, and Department of Health and Human Services Specialized Support Services. GLAAD leadership maintains that comprehensive documentation of institutional action remains essential for public transparency, media account accuracy, and informed policy evaluations nationwide. Well, now everyone always knows I always like to give people a little reminder that GLAAD got itself in a lot of hot water for basically giving its CEO a lot of money, it's paying them a lot of money, and so on the one hand, is GLAAD the best accountability tracker because they have so many questions on their own accountability? But at the same time, I do tend to enjoy these big archive resources. My big critique of it, before we get on, we'll get into how Trump needs to be viewed, is I wish that the different LGBTQ groups, the ACLU, the NAACP, and the Southern Poverty Law Center could all come together with their different archives. Media Matters too. I used to work for Media Matters. It would be nice to get them all to work together, but the way,
that would be
part
wonderful.
of it's a funding issue where they're all trying to say, look at me, give me money, and I'm well, you could all work together. There's nothing stopping you except your own egos, but that's just me.
Well, I love that the 3-letter acronym for the Trump Accountability Tracker is TAT, as in tat for taco tits, as Jennifer Welch calls the mango malignancy. And if they haven't already, it would be great if newsrooms, legal advocates, and civil rights organizations picked up on this and put it to good use when the time comes, when he goes to trial for his war crimes and such.
Well, we also need to preserve and protect our information, especially within our community, but it makes sense to band together, with members of other minority populations.
Oh yeah, no, with Trump especially, we make light of it, but he is a monster, and what he's doing to us, I'm sure, fills volumes to document. Yeah. But also look at what he's doing. He can't get his name on the Kennedy Center, so he just wants to tear it down.
So he can tear it down.
Health and Human Services. Bobby Kennedy doesn't love vaccines. Well, maybe he doesn't. He's fighting with in Florida, he or someone else with the DeSantis is fighting with the Roman Catholic Church because the Roman Catholic Church for their schools, they're no, we demand vaccines. Yeah, and and they're oh no, but you gotta respect religion. They're well, we actually understand Catholic theology more than you. This is what we're dealing with in America, people.
Well, instead of renaming Lake Ontario or any lakes, we should just maybe take the name Trump off of any existing buildings.
Well, what do you think about renaming Lake Michigan Lake Epstein?
Oh my God. Well, and it makes me sick that Lauderdale by the Sea, there's Sea Grape is also named after Donald Trump. And every time I go by, no, in
Palm Beach Airport too, though.
Yeah. But, to have the audacity to self-proclaim and have your name put out there.
I think we're going to chisel a lot of those names
Oh, yeah.
off in a couple years.
Do that, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm Gregg Shapiro, and let's queer up entertainment. Atlanta's Out on Film Festival unveils lineup of more than 150 LGBTQ plus screenings for 39th edition. One of the country's oldest LGBTQ plus film festivals has officially announced its return for its 39th edition, running from September 24th to October 4th, 2026, at the historic landmark Midtown Art Cinema. The 11-day film festival will feature 155 films, including 38 feature narratives and documentaries, 108 shorts, and 10 world premieres. This year's programming centers on the theme, The World We're Making, emphasizing community connection and the transformative power of LGBTQ plus storytelling. The festival opens with Gary Jaffe's buddy comedy, Before I Do, and concludes with the acclaimed Spanish feature, La Bola Negra. Highlights include a centerpiece screening of Gimme the Ball, an intimate documentary highlighting tennis legend and equality advocate Billie Jean King, alongside a retrospective of the classic film Desert Hearts, directed by Donna Deitch. Additionally, actor and director Jelani Aladdin will receive the festival's Rising Star Award following the world premiere of his short film next year. With a virtual viewing window extending through October 11th, festival leaders anticipate strong regional turnout following a record-breaking 2025 season, continuing the festival's legacy of uplifting diverse global and local indie filmmakers. I find it fascinating that there are still people who don't understand the need for an LGBTQ film festival, even after one such as Out on Film has been around for almost 40 years. There's a reason for that.
Absolutely.
And it's a really simple answer. Representation matters. And we're fortunate to have Out on Film in Atlanta, South Florida's Outshine Film Festival,
Yes.
San Francisco's Frameline, and Chicago's Reeling, just to name a few. We're glad that they're doing that work.
It's so essential because, I don't know, I have not tracked this. I've not done any trackers to figure this out. But, is it just me or, there used to be way more good and sometimes really bad but still funny gay indie movies out there. Remember, Another Gay Movie, Another Gay Movie, the sequel, and, The Eating Out. And you just don't see as many queer movies anymore.
Yeah, and as someone who enjoyed, the New Festival in Manhattan many years ago, you get more unique, original types of film, and that's what's missing in the mainstream categories.
And that's what these film festivals help do. They help spread the word for a cool indie film, and then might get some traction because there's a good potential pipeline to get to streaming. I know that Stop That Train did not do well at the box office, but people didn't care because it was the whole point of it was to get into streaming, which will pay for itself.
Yes. Well, I think a lot of times too that films have to, in order to qualify for the Oscars, a movie has to show in a theater. Do
you think RuPaul deserved an Oscar for Stop That Train?
I think that might be one of the all-time worst movies I've ever seen.
Really?
Check out my review at Out South Florida, please.
I thought it was better than Longhorns, I think. Is that what that old movie was called?
Yeah. But film festivals are also a chance, as we all know, to showcase new things. And all I'll say right now is another little teaser is Marriott's Merry Productions. We'll have something in 2027, and that's all I'm going to say for now, so stay tuned.
I'm Alex Morash, and let's queer up trans rights. Secretary Pete Hegseth sparks backlash after using anti-trans slur at Oshkosh Defense. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth has drawn intense backlash after using anti-transgender slurs during an address at military technology contractor Oshkosh Defense in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. speaking to factory workers and defense representatives, Hegseth outlined what he framed as a return to the warrior ethos within the Department of Defense, emphasizing an uncompromising focus on combat readiness and military legality.
Where we're restoring the warrior ethos, and that means a focus, an unrelenting, uncompromising focus on lethality. It means no more DEI. It means no more trannies, just training. It means colorblind, gender-neutral, merit-based, back to basics, across the board, no matter if you're carrying a rifle or you're working on the plant floor.
The Oshkosh address marks the second time in recent days that Hegseth has used the anti-trans slur during official public appearances, following similar rhetoric at a veterans fundraiser at the Iowa State Fair. Civil rights organizations, veterans advocates, and lawmakers immediately condemned the remarks, with federal lawmakers calling for Hegseth's immediate resignation or removal. Critics pointed out the fundamental contradiction in calling the department gender-neutral and merit-based while using derogatory language towards transgender service members. Legal experts further note that Hegseth's public use of the slurs could jeopardize the department's defense in ongoing federal lawsuits challenging the military trans ban, as courts evaluate whether the restrictions stem from legitimate military necessity or unlawful prejudice. Well, you know, I think I speak for everyone from the People's Republic of China for thanking Hegseth for continuing to decimate America's military readiness. I mean, just open the door to just American hegemony just being destroyed, Pete. Like, besides the fact that you're a bigot, you've also done a terrible job running the military. You can't do anything. Like, he's so focused on like this legality or like this like whole like male ethos. Oh, yeah. Meanwhile, like I'll go on TikTok and I'll see like they have these different Chinese companies that advertise, and then they now make this little. It looks like a you know, one of those things that you put on a ship for like a cargo container. Yeah. You can put it on a truck, and you know what's inside of it? An entire 3D printing facility to make military drones. You can just drive that wherever you want. That's what China's doing. Yeah. Meanwhile, we're busy with our ethos, our manliness. Good job, Pete.
Pete Hegseth, also known as Pastor Doug Wilson's personal enema nozzle. If this loathsome scumbag, if this is Pete Hegseth when he's sober, I would hate to imagine to see what it was like when he was drinking.
Well, I think we also need, you know, from an HR standpoint, I think we need to say, stay tuned for many class action suits after this term and things turn bluer and bluer. I looked up and did a little research on the Department of Defense Code of Conduct, and just, you know, unwelcome verbal, visual, written, physical, or electronic behavior that a reasonable person would consider offensive or that creates an intimidating, hostile, or offensive work environment. Well, there you go. And it goes on and on. I mean, I could continue, but Pete, your days are numbered.
Well, my question for Pete is like, if he's so manly and can do so much with our military, why haven't they opened up the Strait of Hormuz?
Yeah. Well, many questions to be answered and looked into. Representative Marlin Stutzman claims WNBA protects lesbian structure in league. The Republican congressman from Indiana faced sharp backlash following remarks where he claimed the WNBA is actively trying to preserve, quote, lesbian structure, end quote, within professional basketball. Speaking on the conservative podcast Jenna Ellis in the Morning, Stutzman argued that the league's leadership and established fan base favor homosexual players over heterosexual athletes, claiming this dynamic influences publicity, player marketing, and rookie integration. His comments sparked immediate pushback from sports commentators, LGBTQ plus civil rights organizations, and player advocacy groups, who condemned the remarks as divisive and homophobic. Critics highlighted the WNBA's long-standing reputation as a pioneer for inclusive professional athletics, emphasizing that player success and media exposure are driven by elite performance, market engagement, and athletic merit rather than personal identity. Well, you know, if somebody has the talent, they're going to rise, and we just can't help that. The talent is within our community and within our women who play basketball.
Well, you know, I'm going to get canceled for this, but as a lesbian supremacist, maybe we do need more lesbian structures in our society. It would be good for us.
I think it's a great idea. And as someone who spent more than 40 years of my life in Chicago with Indiana in much, much too close proximity, I can attest that the Hoosier state from whence this freak hails is the true mistake on the lake. And Marlin, when we call for toilet paper, you come rolling in. Until that time, shut the fuck up.
LGBTQ 1 Minute News, let's queer up the world view. UK government appoints global LGBTQ plus rights envoy. The British government has appointed Lord Ray Collins as its new official LGBTQ plus rights envoy, establishing a foreign policy role dedicated to championing queer equality and human rights globally. In an interview with Openly, Lord Collins outlined his diplomatic roadmap for navigating complex international relations, particularly in regions experiencing democratic backsliding or anti-LGBTQ plus legislative rollbacks. Collins emphasized that the UK intends to leverage bilateral diplomacy, international aid frameworks, and trade negotiations to encourage human rights protections worldwide, pointing to severe criminalization policies in parts of Africa and Eastern Europe. Collins committed to working directly with grassroots activists on the ground, framing the UK's diplomatic mission as one centered on protection, asylum, access, and global coalition building. Well, congratulations, Lord Collins. We need someone like you here in the U.S. pronto. And I guess we won't see that, though, until some people are removed from office. But this is fantastic. I know on the show we've talked about the backsliding in Africa, especially in some third world countries, and it's refreshing to hear this.
I'm sure he means well, but I don't think the world needs some new lord from England trying to tell people about political backsliding. You talk about a nation we're seeing democratic backsliding and the eroding of rights. England is one of the worst actors right now. The way they've been treated, they don't like the juries don't want to convict little old ladies for wearing like pro-Palestine t-shirts, so they're saying maybe we don't need juries for certain things. I'm like, what the heck? It's like they're the worst people to lecture on this, and it doesn't help the LGBTQ community to have a nation like England or America, for that matter, going around lecturing about democratic backsliding.
I'll take a lord on, Collins.
I'm sure he means well. I get that.
You're talking about colonialists. That's what you're talking about.
No, I'm saying that England and the United States are terrible examples right now.
Of course.
No, we're not great. Not at all. Well,
LGBTQ 1 Minute News, let's queer up politics. Darline Graham blames trans kids to deflect from foreign policy debate flub. South Carolina U.S. Senate candidate Darline Graham faced heavy criticism after attempting to deflect from a major foreign policy debate stumble. After admitting during a primary debate that national security and foreign relations regarding Taiwan were, quote, not her thing, end quote, Graham appeared on Fox News to address the performance. Rather than clarifying her stance on international affairs, she pivoted to culture war rhetoric, claiming South Carolina voters don't care less about geopolitics and more about boys and girls sports. Media analysts and LGBTQ advocates quickly pointed out the absurdity of her defense, noting that South Carolina enacted a statewide ban on transgender student athletes years prior. Critics slammed the maneuver as an attempt to scapegoat vulnerable transgender youth to cover for fundamental policy ignorance on the campaign trail. I'm like, whatever Miss Graham's name is, she's so unmemorable. Like, her transphobia is absolutely appalling. There's also this real issue that, like, U.S. politicians really don't know what to do with Taiwan, because there was a recent hubbub about war experts would do war games about how would we do in a war with China in the Strait of Taiwan, and guess what? We would not do well, because from a logistics standpoint, China's right there. It's a big nation. They can defend themselves pretty easily. And guess what, kids? Taiwan is a province of China. That's why the U.S. used to recognize Taiwan as the legitimate government of China. And guess what? Those two places, they're going to make nice and pay each other off or something. But clearly this lady has no idea what she's doing.
That lady is Darline Letty Graham Nardone. Just get her name right, would you please?
She can't get anything right, so why should I know her name?
She's going to spit in your biscuits.
oh my God.
Any thoughts on this, sir?
I just have to say, when you have stuff like that coming out of someone's mouth where they really don't care about world policy, and here she is succeeding her deceased brother's spot, and he was a big he was a big proponent of, and watching out for China. It's very eye-opening, and she's probably just, she's a placeholder until they can get the right person in.
I hear you. And, I think we all agree that Lindsay is looking up and asking what's going on.
LGBTQ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up writers. Queer poet Ed Madden reflects on Tusk, public art, and activism. I recently had the pleasure of interviewing Ed Madden, the inaugural poet laureate for the city of Columbia, South Carolina from 2015 to 2022, about his literary career, LGBTQ plus activism, and his new chapbooks, and here they are, Arkansas Luggage, and I asked him what he needed. Madden discussed his transition from an inaugural civic poet, placing poetry on buses, sidewalks, and coffee sleeves, to utilizing verse as a medium for public resistance and witness. His poem Tusk, which is featured in this Stevie Nicks poetry anthology, in which I also have a poem, examines growing up queer within a fundamentalist religious community and using popular music to process shame, identity, and the early AIDS epidemic. Madden also detailed his daily postcard poetry project, which evolved into a creative response to immigration enforcement and state rhetoric, arguing that poetry provides a crucial language of witness that forces community to slow down and affirm shared humanity during turbulent times. Check out this interview and my other Bay Area Reporters articles at ebar.com. Great poet. I always say this, even if you're not a reader of poetry, his stuff is very clear. In fact, the Arkansas Luggage book also has some essays in it. So if you're more of like a prose person, but I recommend both books.
Oh, that's great.
He's a great writer, really great.
You published a book on poetry, didn't you? Am I getting that wrong?
I published several books of poetry.
Okay. So I think that's interesting for you. Were you the poet of those, or were other people?
Yes.
Okay. So you're a poet that interviewed another. That's nice. That must be. I always enjoy when people that are much more knowledgeable of the subject do an interview. So I imagine it's going to be a great read.
I wear multiple hats: journalist and poet.
That's amazing. Look forward to checking it out.
Please do.
Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, is a nonprofit 501c3 media company in the same model as PBS and NPR, but created for the LGBTQ community. Our nonprofit mission is to support the 11 pillars of our community.
We want to inform and educate the key issues of lesbian, trans, Latino, Black, healthcare, seniors, students, faith, social justice, business, and queer culture. Help us support our diverse community. We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ nonprofit media companies in America. Hotspots Happening Out, South Florida.
In 2026, our magazine is celebrating 41 years of the LGBTQ experience, and Queer News Tonight is celebrating our 5th anniversary with more than 16,000 LGBTQ television stories. We present South Florida's major LGBTQ events, including Pride Fort Lauderdale, Stonewall Pride, and Pride Fete. Our magazine, events, television, news, talk, and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ and broader community.
In 2026, more than 100 community leaders will sit at this table and share their voice as our anchors. Together, we host this show to support the LGBTQ community. Let's meet this evening's anchors at Queer News Tonight. Let's welcome anchor Alex Morash. Alex has served as editor-in-chief of Options Magazine, media director of the National LGBTQ Task Force, and press secretary for the Florida Democratic Party. Welcome back to the show, Alex. I know how much you love to tell us to get out and vote, but I hear there's a special election we should pay attention to.
Why, yes, thank you. There's the Out South Florida does the People's Choice Awards, and yours truly has been nominated for Best Local TV Personality in Broward. Faye is also up there, so I understand you can vote once per day per email. So, vote for me 3, 4, 5 times, and then vote for Faye once or twice. You gotta keep it even. But for people to remember, I was looking at where I am on the list, and I'm at the bottom. So remember, kids, for my one, go vote at the bottom to put me on top.
Oh, that's a good slogan, a good slogan.
But
Look at you.
Right, and it's just been a wonderful day out South Florida with me.
Yeah.
For those that want to see, you can also see I have a piece in Out South Florida today, so you can see that. And when you see my name, be like, oh yeah, I should go vote for him.
So you're a power bottom.
I am actually not.
Okay.
I want to get back to my normal role on Top Girl.
Okay, hon. Let's welcome anchor Gregg Shapiro. Gregg is an inductee into the Chicago LGBT Hall of Fame. Gregg is an entertainment journalist whose celebrity interviews and reviews run in a variety of regional LGBTQ publications and websites. Welcome back to the show, Gregg. What's happening?
Well, I'm very happy to be here, and I want to wish you and everyone watching a happy National Peach Day, which, as some of you know, has a very different meaning to our community.
I'm about to say, we were told not to sexualize you today,
I
Gregg.
love peaches.
And of course, let's welcome tonight's lead anchor, Larry Farver. Larry has over 20 years of experience in human resources, acting, film, radio, TV, live events, parade float design, production, and casting. He is also a board member of the West Side Association. Welcome back to the show, Larry. How you doing, girl?
Good. It's great to be here with you, gentlemen.
Aw.
Kind of excited to just do a little teaser, but Marriott's Mary Productions, Dana Davis, and myself as a producer are excited to announce that we will be putting out more details about a food drive that we're doing for Poverello on Saturday, October 10th. And we're going to actually have some special guests there, including the one and only Candace Kane.
Oh, well,
Celebs.
I do have a complaint. I do not see Miss Dana here enough. I miss her. I miss her Danakin when Danakin comes by. I love those two.
Well, they'll be there, so please be sure to check it out. There'll be photo ops. These are today's headlines from Queer News Tonight. Our anchors represent the best of our LGBTQ family.
If our community is important to you, share this news with your friends and family. Don't forget to share the conversation on your favorite streaming platform. Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines.
We need your support. If our community is to grow and then thrive, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world. This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, and Queer News Tonight.
I'm Larry Farver, your anchor, and I want to thank you for joining us on behalf of my fellow LGBTQ anchors here at Queer News Tonight, Gregg Shapiro and Alex Morash. We'll see you daily at 8 p.m. To our LGBTQ plus world, we wish you a good night.